What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we have a huge old news update discussing future Season of the Worthy content in Destiny 2, so that'll include some quest and upcoming mission content, but we also have big teasers about the arrival of the pyramid ships, a possible hint to exactly when we're going to see their arrival. And yes, that annual expansion is holding some real potential here. There have even been leaks about the fall DLC for the game, although we might want to temper our expectations, as they might not be quite as legitimate as they initially look. So let's round up what we know about that. However, we also have game updates, broken exotics, and more to discuss in this video. So if you guys enjoy this one, then a rating below really supports me on the channel. But otherwise, I appreciate you tuning in, and now let's get into it. So initially this week, Rasputin continues to warn us about the pyramid ships, and this is incredibly significant because ever since Shadowkeep we have known that the threat of the pyramid ships is finally a reality in the game world, and Bungie have also teased a year-long story which would build up to major future events. So since in much more recent times, Zavala and Rasputin have helped to confirm this threat, it definitely is unsettling that after the weekly reset, the ships have moved en masse toward our system. And so yes, the pyramid ships are absolutely coming, but based on the distance they've moved, players also speculate that they could first reach the edge of our map in-game in around 8 or 10 weeks' time. Paul Tassi also pointed out that this could line up with the start of next season, so it's entirely possible that we could have another build-up season, right, where things start to kick off, and maybe the assault of the pyramids will start on Titan, since that is the first known location that the ships could reach according to the map. Either way, ultimately, they would be in line to arrive at Earth in time for a fall expansion this year. And so definitely pretty exciting, and also curious that Europa appears on this map as well. And as we speculated, it could well be a new location for the fall expansion. So pyramid ships absolutely doubly confirmed, but a lot of you guys have also mentioned leaks from the past few days and have asked me why I haven't really covered them here on the channel. The main reason for that for me is that there are some elements of the leak which I feel really affect its potential credibility, and I'll explain why in a moment, but to look at the details, they are entirely plausible, and they do link to both the pyramid ships supposedly coming in the fall, and apparently the fall expansion is going to be called Destiny 2 Collapse. According to the leak, it was originally supposed to be Destiny 3, and the Darkness subclasses that Anon the 9 originally leaked a couple of years back nearly will be part of the fall expansion according to this leak. They speak about a ghostly, veiled woman called the Winnower, and this will be a main character alongside an enemy race called the Veil. And of course we have heard these details essentially in the past from Anon the 9, but the leak also suggests Europa is going to be part of the expansion, as well as a social space called the Distributory. And so it's definitely an exciting idea, isn't it? Especially when we look at some of the concept art that Bungie have been sitting on for quite some time, that we know is associated with this whole darkness story, if that's what we want to call it. But the thing to bear in mind with this leak initially, and this is before we get onto more evidence, is that the pyramid ship story is already taking place. Once again, many of the elements inside of this leak consist of a mix between Anon the 9's early D3 development leaks, and we know they had some amount of substance at the time they dropped. And so once again, all of this stuff is plausible, but the leaks kind of come into question when we look at the artwork provided. So initially, it doesn't really look like something a Bungie graphic designer would actually do. And even more damning is the fact that you can actually find the background for the image that was provided alongside this leak by searching Google. And once again, Bungie simply wouldn't do that. Some folks have said, because I tweeted about this, hey, what if the image isn't official and the leaker created it as a visual representation? And the problem there is that in itself, that would ruin the reputation of the leaker entirely anyway. But then, in addition, our most reliable data miners and players who are generally very intelligent about this stuff have said, no, this leak almost certainly isn't legit. So Destiny 2, the collapse, is something that I would take with many grains of salt. There are players who already speak about Destiny 2 collapse as though it's a confirmed piece of content. And you guys know me, we absolutely love leaks, data mines, reliable information about future content. But that always comes with a message that we should bear in mind that this is not confirmed content just yet. So give us your thoughts about all of this stuff down below. Obviously the confirmation of the pyramid ship threat. We pretty much know that absolutely is going to be a major story in the near future, or nearish future. So I'd love to hear what you think about that. but also give me any thoughts that you have on those leaks down below as well. To step away from leaks for just a moment before we speak more about Season of the Worthy content that we are very much gonna get in the game, it's worth mentioning that the Worm God Caress, as well as Winter's Guile once again, are broken in the game. In fact, both of these exotics have already now been disabled due to another glitch, which was pretty much the exact same thing as before, with just a couple of caveats. So apparently, you would need two of the same weapon type, so something like Tractor Cannon as an exotic shotgun, and then a secondary shotgun as well, but you could also do it with sniper rifles. And then you'd need Ammo Finder for that weapon equipped on your helmet, and another buff active, so you could use Devour on Warlocks, or Roaring Flames on Titans. And basically, once you have the 5 stack of damage from either of those exotics, you'd have to just continue to defeat enemies until Ammo Finder procs, and once that procs, you simply switch the exotic out for something else, then switch back, just like the previous glitch, to get 5 stacks of bonus melee damage infinitely. And so these two are banned once again, and we still have things like Felwinter's Helm currently disabled from this season, so hey, if Telesto is listening, it could be the perfect time for you to start kicking up a fuss as well. Man, we've had some persistently difficult exotics over the past few months, so bear in mind for the moment that these two have been disabled as well. Moving back to the territory of future content though, let's speak about a few leaks that we can much more easily verify. And these would be leaks for secret content this season. So we have spoken about a few things previously, but today we do get additional juicy details thanks to a couple of Reddit posts which round up a new story character, the ending of the season, destroying the Almighty, and some new quest and mission content. And so obviously there is a spoiler alert on this because it is secret content coming up soon. And we should also give credit to Dobby Rams and Orange Blooper on Reddit for rounding these up. But some of the upcoming content we get here does come in the form of leaked audio for the season. So I'll link the threads down below that have links to the audio. And via this, once again, we get confirmation that Felwinter is Rasputin's son. So there's dialogue talking about Rasputin executing an order to deploy assault frames. However, the target was for a single exo, and she says that there are Warmind intelligence transcripts associated with the spot referencing Siva, and it confirms that Rasputin actually tried to use Siva as bait to draw the Iron Lords in, or more specifically, Felwinter. And so because of some dispute between Felwinter and Rasputin, it was essentially for that reason that that huge assault on the Plague Lands actually happened, Rasputin releasing the plague literally on his own son. And players have discussed how that makes a lot of sense given what Osiris actually said to Rasputin in that first cutscene that teased Season of the Worthy. Osiris knows that Rasputin was responsible for that onslaught on the Plague Lands, and for giving Siva a specific directive. And so obviously that is pretty crazy stuff, and we're going to discover that in some form in game. But separate to this, there are text lines that refer to us actually being in a really old part of one of the bunkers. So Anna Bray says, there you are, the comms cut out completely, you're in a really old part of the bunker, and the signal is terrible. This place looks like a time capsule. Where are we? And she speaks about the casing of an old safety AI, but marked with Rasputin's symbol. And so that dialogue that Anna Bray has right there is referring directly to that hidden room on the moon bunker, and the old kind of Rasputin core that you can see inside of that room, which originally was actually a concept for what Rasputin could look like in D2. So that's really interesting, and we kind of get an idea as to why we'll be heading down there. But also, potentially, in cinematic or in mission or quest content, will actually help Rasputin to destroy the Almighty. So Anna says, Guardian assistance requested, towers are deployed, let's give Big Red a clear view of the Almighty. There are also dialogue lines that refer to us helping Rasputin launch satellites, and to lock on to the Almighty to ultimately make that assault. But also, they show an image right here that shows the Almighty in the skybox in the tower. And so we're actually going to see the Almighty start to appear in the skyline, which is pretty crazy, and finally the Almighty will be completely destroyed. So obviously some really interesting stuff there. But interestingly, despite the references to Siva, the fact that we learn Rasputin actually redirected Siva and was partly responsible for the way that the whole Siva crisis went down previously, considering Rasputin is now an ally of ours, that could potentially neutralize the threat of Siva moving forward. And that's very interesting, especially given the potential different direction with the story and the pyramid ships moving into future seasons. So once again, I'm going to link those threads down below. I know not everybody is a massive fan of the way that Bungie slowly deliver this story, but despite some of the seasonal issues and the various frustrations that players have with the game at the moment, I do personally think that the story potential and interactions between different parts of the Destiny universe at the moment, yeah, it's definitely one of the things that Bungie are at least doing in interesting ways, and in my opinion are doing pretty well. So be sure to also give us your thoughts about this down below. For today though guys, that is what we have to talk about in the news. But be sure to keep it locked and loaded here, as I would imagine we're going to get details about Guardian Games in the next couple of days. Then we do have the April update next week with the Nightfall Ordeal, the Guardian Games event with the new exotic. Of course there will be fixes and updates to the game. And from what we know, it will pave the way for some of that upcoming secret content as we get closer to rounding out the end of the season. So guys, give us your thoughts on everything we've spoken about as always. If you have enjoyed the video though, a rating really helps me out. And for now, I appreciate you tuning in. So whatever you get up to, stay safe, and I hope you have an awesome day.